PEMDAS. Some of you look at this first problem and freak out. Don't do it. Don't worry. We'll take it step by step as we work through our order of operations. That is, more with PEMDAS. So again, starting with parentheses, exponents, radicals, or roots. That R stands for roots or radicals. Multiply, divide, add, subtract. Start from the very beginning with P for parentheses. And we'll notice that there's a parenthesis here, 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 here. Whenever you're doing order of operations or any kind of simplifying, you always go from the inside out. Just like the movie. Start with the inside and then work your way out. So we go with the very inside and we go, there's my first set of parentheses. So I'm just going to break that out by itself for just a second and just look at 9 divided by 3 cubed. Start with just that piece all on its own, which in and of itself has more PEMDAS inside of it. So that's why we look at it differently and say, okay, instead of just doing that and saying, oh, I know what that is in my head, which you may or you may not. Okay, 9 divided by 9 cubed, I still look at PEMDAS and say, okay, are there more parentheses? No. Are there more exponents? Yes, there are exponents. So I do exponents first, and I say 9 divided by 3 to the third power. Recall again, my little thought bubble, cubed means the power of 3 means times itself 3 times. Which means it will be 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So now I have 9 divided by 27. Common mistake is people will do this or write it the wrong way. I like to write division as a fraction. So this is the same as 9 divided by 27. I reduce that fraction, and that is 1 divided by 3. So far, in this gigantic problem, I've taken a look at all of this, and I've only done that first parenthesis so far. So let's pause and rewrite the question. Now, if you were doing this problem, and you only wrote those 2 steps, here to there, I would be asking you, wait, how did you make this into that? You still need to show work. So you can see some of these more elaborate problems are going to require you to write lots of things. And some of you wonder, oh, but what if I make a mistake? Don't worry, we all make mistakes. If you don't try, you definitely will never make mistakes, which is why as long as you're trying, we're going to make mistakes and we'll work through it. But if I see your mistakes, I can at least see where you made your mistakes and help find strategies to keep you from making those same mistakes twice, or 3 times, or 4 times. It's like a pothole when you drive around. Well, eventually, when you all get driver's licenses and you drive your cars around, if you always hit the same pothole every time you go in the same place, you're going to eventually do some damage to your car. But you find strategies to remember not to hit that pothole. We'll do the same thing, finding strategies so that you don't always make the same mistakes. So now, let's go to my next step. That was my parentheses, and then we went through PEMDAS inside of that first set of parentheses. Do I have more parentheses? The answer is yes, I do. So now I will take this piece, and I'll do the same thing, and I'll rewrite it as 9 squared times 1/3 minus 15. And I'll do that all separately. So again, I will look and say, are there any more parentheses? No. Do I have exponents? Yes, that's what I do first. There's my exponent. 9 squared, again, squaring means times itself. So 9 squared is the same as 9 times 9. 9 times 9, 81. Then I'm going to rewrite everything else. Times 1/3 minus 15. Shrink everything there just a little bit. And then I continue on with my PEMDAS, because I'm done with parentheses. Am I done with exponents? Yes. So now I just have PEMDAS. Do I have any r's? Do I have any roots? Looking at that. Nope, no roots. Do I have any multiplying? Yes, I do. There's my multiplication symbol. So I say, all right, so then I'll have 81 times a third, which is 81 divided by 3. 1/3 times a third means I'm going to have 81 of 1/3, or 1/3 of 81, or 81 times a third. 81 divided by 3, however you think about it, it's 81 divided by 3. And then I'll have minus 15. Do a little more simplifying. Let's see, 81 divided by 3. Either you're doing that with your calculator, in your head, or some other method that you use. I use short division, like long division, but I go 8 goes into, or 3 goes into 8. All right, that's twice. All right, that's 6. So there's 2 left over, so that's 2 there for 21, and 3 into 21 is 7. So I have 27 minus 15, and this little component then is equal to 12. And then I go back up here to the problem and go, oh, that was the giant parenthesis I just did. So now I'm going to rewrite this over here with the new parts that I've just finished. Instead of that giant parenthesis, I now have 12 times 2 divided by 4. And now I'm left with, any more multiplying? Yes, there is more multiplying. So now I'll have multiplication, eventually division. There is no addition and subtraction. So I look over here, I have 12 times 2 is 24, and then that's going to be divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And there's my final answer. A long ways to get the problem. All right. I'm not going to have you finish a problem today, but here's the question I want you to consider. When thinking back on the problem that we just did, what part of that when I say that, I mean that which we just did. What part of what we just did, what part of that was the easiest to understand and hardest to understand? We're going to write 2 things, and what I want is I actually want you to write sentences. Write me 1 sentence about what is the easiest thing that you understood about the last problem, and what was the hardest part. Like if you look back and say, if I'm going to make a mistake, that's where it is. What would be the hardest thing for you, or where would you most likely make a mistake based on the problem that we just did? That's it for the video. We'll see you in class.